Welcome to the second podcast. I'm Blake Foxx.
I'm Ralleign Siston.
And I'm Mizu Kurai.
We have no idea what we're doing, so we're just going to talk about some stuff. How's that sound?
We're going to wing it.
Winging it.
Sure, why not?
Zero Wing Rhapsody.
What?
I feel like we've played this video for you before.
If we did, I probably forgot it.
You don't remember the... I'm sure you're familiar with Bohemian Rhapsody, right?
Si.
And you're familiar with the All Your Bass meme, right?
Si.
Well, somebody took the scene that All Your Bass comes from and turned it into Bohemian Rhapsody. Like, it's composed, it's got the music, they sing all the lines.
Oh, God.
And it's like got an animated video to accompany it, and it's probably like the funniest thing from like old Newground stuff.
It's you, it's you, it's you, it's you, it's you. How are you, gentlemen? All your bass belong to us. You are on the way to destruction.
Like, wasn't that like 2005?
I think it was older than that. I'm pretty sure that was like a Newgrounds era video. I remember seeing it on Newgrounds. Like, I feel like that's where I saw it originally.
Yeah, it definitely was on Newgrounds, because I remember...
Yeah, I feel like that was like really early 2000s video, man. It was definitely like old as hell at this point. It's gotta be like almost 20 years old.
Well then.
But it's still funny. We went back and watched it like, what, a couple months ago?
Yeah. I think. Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
Yeah, it was a little while ago. I can't believe you don't remember that. Man, you have a short memory.
He remembers
No,
everything
I remember
card game related.
I remember everything. It's just, it depends on if I actually cared at the time.
Oh, well, I see how it is. It's not Yugi yelling stuff about cards, so...
Drawing the monster cardos.
I think that's like the most savage I've seen Mizu, like, since 2016.
He's not about roasting people. It's not usually his thing. Although he can roast away, I guess.
Oh.
Oh, boy.
So then...
See, this is why I wanted to record the first one for like 2.5 hours originally, is because I figured there would be lots of awkward pauses.
Oh,
and then we ended up not having any awkward pauses. So I don't even know how long we're going to record this session for. I guess we'll just kind of keep going till it feels like a right to stop. Although, I guess it's only going to be up to you in editing. Although I would prefer it to be about an hour to an hour and a half, somewhere in that range. Because I feel like the 2 hours thing, while it was great for the first one, would be too long for like a regular thing.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But like an hour to an hour and a half for the weekly podcast is probably just about right.
Yeah. You mentioned like the other day off camera, off microphone, obviously, about like how it took you like 7 to 8 hours to like edit the podcast. I feel like that was mostly just because of your inexperience with Lightworks, which means that this one's still going to take me like 7 to 8 hours to edit because I have no experience with Lightworks.
I'd say a lot of it was that, but there was also just, I was having some weird issues and the layout was not right. I don't know. Like, it was just being really broken whenever I was doing the podcast editing. And then I finally figured out what was going on with it, and I fixed it mostly. There's still certain things I can't do. Like, I'm supposed to be able to do a zoom-in effect, but I can't figure out where the scale is. Because there's like this little graph thing, and it's called a scale, I guess, and you're supposed to like move it to get it to do the zoom-in effect on Lightworks, but I can't figure out where that option is. Like, I can't find it in Lightworks.
I think another big issue with that podcast is the fact that it was 2.5 hours long.
Yeah, there was a lot to go through.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
I imagine that the longer the video it is, the more it's going to take you to edit.
Yeah. Comparatively, it was light on edits versus the way I was with the Let's Plays. But that was mostly because during the Let's Plays, I've been like really awkward and kind of quiet just because I'm not used to recording by myself. So I kind of always planned for the beginnings of everything we did to be really slow and awkward. And that's kind of how it turned out anyways. And except for the podcast. The podcasts have been going pretty well. I shouldn't say that because this is literally the second one. But with the Let's Play, it was just really hard because you have to like talk essentially to yourself, and it's not as easy as you'd think it'd be. Although I feel like if you were not recording and you were just playing a game, you'd probably like make jokes to yourself that were way funnier than when you're trying.
Yeah.
Oh my god, is that gonna get picked up again?
Da 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 da.
Why does my phone always go off like right as soon as we start the
You should
podcast?
shut it off.
You can't tell me what to do.
He's
Awkwardly
gonna go.
gets up now to turn off phone.
Yes.
Don't trip on any cords.
I'm actually
I like
not
talking to the
good with
people at the
people.
windows and stuff at the Wendy's, mostly because a lot of the stuff they have to say is really interesting or hilarious. Like one time, the Wendy's got a compliment from this one customer who specifically enjoyed the fact that there were 2 drive-up trash cans.
Why?
Apparently, the Wendy's is the only place that ends up having 2 drive-up trash cans. Everywhere else only has 1, and once those are filled up, she can't dump her trash into them anymore.
I can literally see your hand hitting the table on the audio.
Well, I'll do it
file
again.
Right there. Yep, there it is. I knew as soon as I saw the one that like looks like it's going crazy, that was him hitting his hand on the table.
This table is absolute shit.
Well, it is,
It's
small bits of metal with like a plastic cover over whatever the heck is supposed to be
It's
inside
like-
of it.
if you've ever been to like a church or like some sort of like impromptu social gathering where people just set up those like folding metal tables. That's essentially this table. Well, like instead of a wood surface on the top, it's all metal, and there's
There's like some kind of material in it
It's a
to make
plastic
it
cushion.
soft, and then
Yeah.
It's a plastic cushion on top. So, no putting people through the table with a stunner.
Oh, you'll do it anyways, or you'll just fall.
Or you'll just fall.
Oh man, I wish like we had a camera on you when you fell earlier, because that was the funniest thing.
Oh, fuck, man. Okay, just before we started recording this thing, like, I decided I'd pick up my, pick up my laptop, move it to some place where, like, it's not sitting on a chair that people need to sit in. There was a backpack hanging on the chair, and, like, the laptop's charging cable got caught on the backpack. My foot got caught on the charging cable. I trip, I fall, I'm fat. It hurts.
I fell down.
I've fallen, and I can get up.
Did you just say I can get up?
Yes.
You don't need life alert. You're too young.
I can get up. I just don't want to.
that sounds very lazy.
So, you're the only one who actually plays trading cards.
Oh,
Which card game's your favorite?
Vanguard.
Figured that out.
Yeah, that
Come on,
probably
His
Look at
good
favorite,
everything you've
his
got.
favorite anime character of all time is clearly Chrono.
Yeah, gross. No. Chrono is the worst anime character I've ever seen.
Oh my god. Like, I have this thing with movies and TV shows where I can usually predict, like, I would say a good 85 to 90% of the plot well before it happens. And if you take Chrono into account, that becomes, like, basically
100%.
100% because he is the most generic character I've ever seen in anything.
He
This
is.
character has red hair. I wonder if he has a fiery personality.
Oh my god. They, like, designed him to where he can't lose. Like, ever. I think he's lost, like, 3 fights. And
From like what you've seen.
even those, it was... Like, the way they set it up, it was, like, so predictable.
It was like Yugi turning into the Pharaoh and pulling against Joey for like absolutely nothing. There was no point.
It's like a non-pay-per-view Hulk Hogan match. You know what's going to happen.
The only thing is even in the pay-per-view matches, you know what's going to happen.
Well, not so much. I mean, Hulk Hogan did lose to
I
the
mean, in
Warrior.
Vanguard.
He wasn't talking... He was talking about with Chrono,
Oh,
even
yeah.
in the pay-per-view matches, you know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Like...
You know what's going to happen 5 episodes before it happens.
Oh my god, do you know, like, the whole plot, like, from the moment they introduced the first element of the plot? Like, it didn't take me more than, like, a millisecond to figure out that one guy was gonna come back to life.
Which guy?
What's his name? The one guy who's, like, really old and then he dies. But he like says that stupid fucking poem thing right before he dies, and as soon as he started saying it, I was like, oh well, he's coming back. He literally is telling you in this weird stupid poem that he's gonna reincarnate.
What, it was like a wise man or a just man can die, but he will rise to live again, or something like that.
For it is written, even though a righteous man may fall 7 times, he will always rise to live again.
Yeah, it was like really stupid. My favorite thing in all of Vanguard,
Then he catches fire.
Yeah, my favorite thing in all of Vanguard, though, is the generation strides. Because it's always a generic statement about the future followed by generation stride. And there's like trippy, like, light work going on behind him. And he'll throw his arms out like he's in the one fucking scene from the Titanic where they're like hanging over the boat or whatever.
Oh yeah, there's like always like a different one. Like some people will like punch forward, other people like act like they're praying, and
it's basically every time the sailors like go into their sailor forms.
行くぜジェネレーションゾーン解放今こそ輝け我が未来その可能性ドライドジェネレーション
Yes, but this is like for their victory summoning a G unit from their generation.
But yeah, it's always a vague statement about the future. He'll always say something like, before tomorrow there's yesterday, and yesterday leads to the future. And it's like, okay, what?
For the hope of tomorrow, light shine down and save the future. Generation stride.
I wouldn't be shocked if it ever did appear on there, but it's not an actual quote, I think. At least I hope. Because that one was really bad. Remember that time I was making fun of it, though, and I actually did accidentally quote him?
Like, quoted it at least 99%. All the way for what it said.
Because it's always like some just vague, cliched statement about the future. And then he'll yell Generation Stride afterwards. It's... oh my god. At least with the Aichi character, with the Ichi Shindo.
Aichi Shindo.
With his Ichi Shindo. At least his character occasionally would, like, subvert the typical cliches. He, like, actually lost a few battles, and there was a couple parts where I was, like, dead certain a thing was gonna go a certain way. And then, like, it was like, huh, nope, bitch, gotcha. We're actually doing this.
Your typical anime protagonist would never do this.
So yeah, at least like I gotta give credit to the original series for at least occasionally
changing it up.
Yeah, not falling into like the pit traps of cliches. I mean, overall, it still was kind of in that like same realm. Like the overall plot and the overall like way the fights were set up, you could mostly see what was going to happen before it's happening. But every once in a while, it did like throw a curveball, which is pretty much better than you can say for most anything coming out anymore. Yeah, everything seems to like have like an exact formula at this point.
Yeah, of the two series, most people will agree that the first one is better.
Well, yeah, it's because it was better.
Greatly better.
But yeah, I mean, like everything's come down to like really bad formula. It's like with the Nostalgia Cricket, whenever he...
the Nostalgia Cricket?
Yeah, the Nostalgia Cricket.
Chirp, chirp.
Whenever he, like, did that review of the Transformers movie without ever actually watching it, and then other people went and watched the movie, and, like, they were all like, he was exactly right. Like, he like, got 90-something% of what he said right. Down to, like, weird little things that, like, you wouldn't even think about.
Like the plucky sidekicks?
Like... I'm trying to think of an example now, but he said something like a character will make a cameo because they're whatever, and then Shia LaBeouf will appear if they're getting really desperate. And then one character made a cameo, and then Shia LaBeouf appears as like a picture in like one of the scenes or something. And like, so it was like literally like down to like little details, like he predicted this movie because it was that formulaic, like it was that to a T formula. And it's like, oh, wow, that's just embarrassing. Like, I would be ashamed of myself as, like, a writer, a director, a creator, or a producer if anything I made...
predict
Like,
what was going to happen.
If anything I made was ever to the level of the Transformers movies and predictability, I would probably quit. I'd be like, all right, well, I'm done. I have failed on every level possible.
Well, I mean, like, so far in terms of Vanguard G, I've known what was going to happen all the way up until the point that we're currently at.
I liked the part, though, where they had to have the bad guy win, but they couldn't let Chrono lose. So they made the compromise they came up with is Chrono wins the card fight, but then does what the bad guy wants to anyways because he's stupid, and that causes the next part of the season to start. Like, he wins the duel, he saved the day, he's done it.
It's considered kind of like a draw.
It's not a draw, he won.
The bad guy thinks that he has won. Then Chrono does the whole stupid thing where he summons all the units into the real world, exhausts himself, passes out. Then the antagonist collects all the cards, flies off on a helicopter, and some of the winds from the helicopter's wings flips over the top card, and it's a heal trigger. Meaning that the fight was supposed to have continued.
But anyways, the point is that, like, they couldn't have Chrono lose, so they came up with this, like, convoluted, like, series of events to have it to where the bad guy wins, but also Chrono doesn't lose. And it was the most ridiculous thing I'd ever seen. I was like, what even is happening right now?
Yeah, the current season that we're having right now is probably the only time where they let an antagonist battle against Chrono and beat him twice.
Oh wow! Ooh, they're getting crazy over there.
And now they have the team that Chrono's on now, which consists of Tayo, the kid that wanted to win to have friends that Chrono beats in season 1.
Yeah, I know. The one kid that he's all like, I liked you and I taught you how to play this game, but then you became a dick because this teacher guy is also a dick, and now I've got to beat you to show you the error of your ways.
That winning isn't everything. And then a new character that's like specific to this season. And so far it's down to this new character in Chrono versus the main antagonist. And I already know that the main antagonist is going to beat the new character. But now we're down to main antagonist versus Chrono.
And of course Chrono's gonna win, because it's the main antagonist.
Chrono could win, but we still have until like October before they end the season. So there's still like another 4 episodes they have to do.
So basically some more convoluted stuff's going to happen to where the bad guy can win while Chrono also wins.
Chrono can't... No, they're like in a tournament, so they have to finish the fight.
No.
So like
you're underestimating.
Can win,
you're underestimating.
But the main antagonist probably has a better chance of beating Chrono.
No, see, you're underestimating anime bullshit, because what's going to happen is, my prediction, given the way the other thing went, is they're going to get halfway through the duel in the tournament, maybe even near the end, and something's going to happen to force the tournament to end preemptively before they finish the duel.
Or, why not just do what the WWE always does? Have it end in disqualification.
No, I don't think that they're going to have it end, though. Because they've already had Chrono lose to this character twice now.
Yeah, but I'm saying I think
they're going to finish the tournament out.
Do you really think they're going to have him lose 3 times to the same guy?
Yes.
I do not see that happening. Not the way they've been treating him. Unless somebody in their writing staff has gotten the memo about people getting sick and tired of Chrono always winning.
You cannot beat me.
I mean,
don't you know I'm the protagonist of this series?
This is the only...
I don't care.
This is the only character that has consistently beaten Chrono.
Yeah,
so I imagine that they'd at least
but remember
Silverhair?
Silverhair beat him, and I think he beat him twice. He beat him twice, and then the third time they faced each other, Chrono won.
They ended up ending one fight in a draw. He lost to Silverhair because Silverhair was actually using his main deck, and then Chrono has beaten him consistently every time since.
No, I feel like he beat him twice. Oh, and then the one time that he did actually beat Silverhair, they had him lose to Kamui right before then, which I thought was really dumb.
Kamui isn't that the grade 3 guy?
No. Kamui's the one from the original series, the little kid with the really tall hair.
He's like super energetic.
And then in this series, he's like the mentor character for Chrono. And so like he beat him in a duel like literally right before he goes and fights Silverhair and wins. And I didn't really get what that was about. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows what that's about. The Chrono and Kamui throughout the series, regardless if it's on screen or off screen, are constantly trading wins and losses with each other.
Yeah. It's because he's part of like the main cast of the original series, so they can't have him just losing all the time. And like one of the only people he plays cards against is Chrono, so they can technically let Chrono lose a little bit with him, and it doesn't affect anything. But even then, he still mostly wins.
Yeah, probably.
Oh man. Ugh.
I mean, I think the only other character that Chrono has so far lost to that wasn't a main antagonist was Aichi, because they brought him back for the series.
Oh, well, I haven't seen that yet, but it doesn't shock me that he would lose to Aichi. That's kind of what I figured would happen. Though at some point I figure he'll beat Aichi if he hasn't already.
I don't see that happening.
I think he will. I think before the series ends, he will have a duel with Aichi and win.
Man, I feel like whenever you're doing like an anime series or something like, or any sort of series like that, where like you have one protagonist for like the first series, and then the second series you get a new protagonist. You should never have the new protagonist directly go up against the first protagonist.
Now, isn't that how the one Yu-Gi-Oh series ended?
That's how GX ends up ending.
Yeah, it's with Jaden
or Jadai, depending on the dub, goes up against Yugi.
Yeah, that's how they end the series.
Yeah,
does it end in a draw, or do they not tell you who wins, or does he win?
I imagine that Jaden ends up losing since he has his Neos attack Slifer the Sky Dragon. But it doesn't directly tell you, so it could have really gone either way.
See, like, I feel like what's going to happen with the Vanguard, before it ends, they're going to have Chrono face Aichi and win for the same reason they had Fancy Guy fight Toshiki Kaiba, and for the same reason they had the girl fight,
Misaki?
Misaki, yeah. I couldn't think of her name for a minute, like I blanked out. But yeah, like when they fought the two of them, they lost a couple times, and then like they won because it was like passing the torch sort of thing. And so I feel like since they did that with those two characters, it's only inevitable that eventually they do like the passing the torch thing with Chrono and Aichi. Although I feel like they're also probably a little afraid to do it because it's gonna like piss people off if Chrono beats Aichi, because Aichi's actually good at the game and Chrono's just bullshit.
Well, actually, people that like Misaki and Kai are a little pissed off that if it doesn't happen, it's bullshit.
Oh, I guess they got that going for him too. I feel like it'll probably happen, I would imagine.
Well, like I was saying, like really, you shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't be like pitting up the two different protagonists against each other. A lot of people do it, but really, you shouldn't do that because like you're boned either way. Like
it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation.
If first protagonist wins, it now makes your new protagonist look weak. Which, granted, that's a good thing you can do like at the beginning of the series, but you're not normally bringing the first protagonist back at the beginning of the series. You're normally bringing them back at the end. So if you have like the first protagonist win, it makes the new protagonist look weak, even though like by this point he's probably like beaten a bunch of opponents, become like really strong, maybe even beaten the main antagonist of the series. If you have the new protagonist win, now you piss off purists of the original series.
Oh, you're forgetting the third option where you end it in a draw or don't say who won, and then everyone gets pissed because you just kind of like dick tease them there.
Yep.
I don't think really anyone's pissed about the whole Yugi versus Jaden thing, though.
Yeah, but don't they always end their series in, like, duels like that?
And only GX ended like that.
Only GX? Because
Yeah.
I guess in the original
Yu-Gi-Oh!
series,
was
he actually wins.
Pharaoh Yugi versus normal Yugi.
So I guess
and you kind of wanted normal Yugi to win.
Yeah. I don't watch the series much, or I haven't watched much of the series, so I can't say for sure how I'd feel if I actually watched through it. But I feel like I would, like, narrative-wise, it would make more sense to have, Yugi win. But, like, I think Pharaoh Yugi is, like, 8,000 times cooler, and I'd want him to win just because he's cooler.
Yes, but then he has to spend the rest of Yugi's life on Earth.
Yeah, but...
instead of the afterlife.
But anyways, my point was, that's why I said narratively it makes sense. And if I'd been watching the series from the beginning, I'd probably want regular Yugi to win. I'm just saying from my perspective, having only seen a couple episodes, like, Pharaoh Yugi's just... like on a whole another level of cool compared to Yugi, and so like I just want him to win all the time because he's cool.
So basically, like in your case, it's either.
Although ultimately I want Kaiba to win every duel against everyone because Kaiba is the coolest character in the series.
Oh God.
Well,
I mean, I think Joey's probably the coolest character.
No,
but...
Kaiba is by far the coolest character in the entire series.
No.
In all of card fighting anime existence of every series and every card game, Kaiba is by far the coolest.
I think
he's
Kaiba's
cooler
a
than
brat.
Ichi Shindo. He's cooler than Toshiki Kaiba. He's cooler than both Yugis. He's cooler than everyone in every like post original series Yu-Gi-Oh.
I would have to disagree because if we're going to go off that, out of all the series, Jack Atlas is the coolest.
No, Kaiba's the coolest.
Nope.
Nobody else would talk about how they'll fire God.
For too long, we've been forced to live in just this reality. It's tedious, poorly designed, and pathetically constructed. If the one responsible was in my employ, I'd have him fired.
That's
Kaiba. That's Kaiba brand coolness.
That's manga Kaiba brand coolness.
No, that was in the movie.
That was in the movie that comes from the manga.
But yeah, still, my point is Kaiba is way cooler than everyone else.
And yeah, manga. Because I mean, like, Jack Atlas is cool and all, but did Jack Atlas ever willingly propel himself into the afterlife just so he could face Pharaoh and win?
He tried to propel himself into the afterlife to save his love.
It's lame. It's
tried,
way cooler.
He tried. She wouldn't let him, and she somehow managed to kill herself or convince him to not do it.
See, Kaiba actually made it to the afterlife.
Not just that, he made it to the afterlife, and his reasoning wasn't some like cliched love story stuff. It was just he really wanted to beat somebody in a duel because he's a dick like that,
yes, exactly.
Which makes it hilarious and awesome.
His scale up for the Pharaoh.
It's like pettiness. Yeah. He's like petty to such a level that he'll literally go to the afterlife just to like have that final duel.
So a spoiled brat.
Yeah, but like the way they did it, it's like the way they designed his character that makes him like cool instead of annoying. Like, because if he was just like your cliched spoiled brat and like a rich snooty kid, which is like kind of what he is, but they designed his character just slightly better than that in like certain ways. But like if he was like just the stereotype of that, he'd be really annoying and you get tired of him like early on. But they designed him like in just the right way to where like everything he does only makes him cooler.
Yes.
No matter how much of like a dick move it is, or how like selfish it is, or anything else, like it just always serves to make him cooler. There's a reason that he hijacks the entire plot of the movie. Like it's supposed to be about whatever like that cube stuff is, and then Kaiba comes in. He's like, "No, this is my plot now."
Yeah, like the movie.
This is about me fighting Pharaoh.
I feel like, despite the fact that it is a Yu-Gi-Oh movie and it's supposed to be more based around Yugi, they set up the beginning to make it seem like we were actually supposed to be following more of Kaiba.
I'm just saying, like, it's a Yu-Gi-Oh movie. It's probably supposed to be about Yugi and that guy and like the whatever power and the Pharaoh coming back and all that. But Kaiba comes into the picture, and instead of being about any of that, it becomes about Kaiba's quest to finally reach Pharaoh Yugi and duel him and win. And at the end of the movie, it doesn't end with Yugi's wrap-up or Yugi's post-life stuff. It ends with Kaiba going into the afterlife because he designed fucking technology to do so. And then he walks up to the Pharaoh and he's like, all right, let's do this shit.
No, it's funny.
I just wish they would have actually like shown a little bit of the duel. They could have still ended it on a cliffhanger, but I kind of wish they would have let us see a little bit of the duel.
Well, let's face it, the Pharaoh beat Kaiba.
It's funny that you know that like he built technology to go into the afterlife, and like now I'm just thinking instead of like that tram that he did to launch himself into the afterlife, he just did a tram that launches himself into the earth fast enough that it's guaranteed to kill him.
Hey, maybe that's what he did. He just murdered himself so he could fight.
Well, before he sent himself to the afterlife, he did tell Mokuba that he was in charge.
Good point. He just built a tram that just launches himself into Earth fast enough that it guarantees to kill him.
Oh my goodness. Kaiba's so dedicated to defeating the Pharaoh in a duel, he literally commits suicide to go face him. I can live with that. It sounds about like what Kaiba would do.
He launches himself at the Earth with that cube that can cross dimensions. So we don't really know if he crossed through dimensions to the afterlife dimension itself, or if he splattered right into the surface of the Earth.
I feel like what happened...
Either way, I think he's dead.
I feel like what happened is he did cross into the other universe, but now he can't get back, because how is he supposed to launch himself again from the other side? You know what I mean? Like, he can't go back now, so he's just kind of stuck there. So he's the only alive person in the afterlife.
Well, again, he was slowly, like, decaying with those little... Like,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
dark
like
spark does things, so would he really still be the only alive person in the afterlife?
He will be until he dies, yeah. But the real question is, when he dies, will he just, like, kind of just reappear exactly where he was standing before because he's already in the afterlife? Or will he go back to being alive, but he's in spirit form in the alive world?
Oh god, that would be hilarious. Just like, I play the Monster Reborn and take your blue eyes onto my side. Like,
Yeah.
Heart attack.
Sorry about that. I was too busy dying. Anyway,
Well then.
Oh, that'd be such a great scene.
Oh boy.
Why do we always talk about card games? I mean, I guess that's no worse than when we talked about Kojima last time. Oh my god, that conversation never ended.
I mean, we can have like the next, what is it, an hour or so just talking about card games.
Yeah, that's like your conversation. That's like the conversation that you do best.
I excel at that.
Speaking of Kojima.
Oh god.
No,
I'm just kidding.
Oh, I can't wait until November because I'm going to have 3 straight weeks off of work, and it's going to be amazing.
3 straight weeks off of work.
Yeah, dude. Do you know how amazing that sounds? Like just imagine not working for 3 weeks in a row. Like almost an entire month, just no work.
Are those like paid for weeks though?
Yeah, actually. I had paid time off. It's one of the benefits of working at Walgreens. You get paid time off.
I will never know what that feels like.
Hey, man.
Well, I don't know if you get
Always
get
put in
another job.
applications at Walgreens, and if maybe eventually you'll get hired on there, and then you'll have paid time off. Then we'll all work at Walgreens. We'll all work at the same store.
Oh boy.
I wouldn't mind. It'd be way easier to like get everything done, and we'd always know what each other's schedule is because they got it posted in the back.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only thing is though, I'd probably work during the day.
Well, yeah, but he's planning on starting to work during the day too.
Yep.
Once they let him, they keep giving him day shifts on Sundays, so I'm hoping maybe that means that he'll be switching to day shift, but I'm not really sure.
So
They keep giving me day shifts on Sundays because whoever is like supposed to work those shifts on Sundays is lazy
Called
or some
off
shit.
or
I thought they were having issues with people right now. They had a bunch of people leave or something. Because I remember we had like that one person who was like a floater on night shift that kind of came in a little bit during each of our weeks.
Oh,
And
yeah.
like she left. And so now that's a position that's open. And then there was like a couple day shift positions that are open now. I've been like only been there for like a year, and I've seen so many people come and go.
Well, I mean, I've been at the Wendy's for a year, and
I guess actually I've been there 2 years almost, because at the end of January, the beginning of February, it'll be 2 years. So it's been closer to 2 than 1, actually.
yeah, people just come and go at the Wendy's all the time.
Yeah, but that's because you had that idiot manager come in who sucked at what he was doing and was like a douchebag.
And it's actually, that's kind of funny, like, because that guy recently left, and now like he's being replaced by pretty much the best manager in the world.
Yeah, but you don't work there anymore, so that doesn't do you any good. It does him good, though.
Yeah, but I still don't get time off paid.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's not a benefit that fast food restaurants typically offer. I was surprised that Walgreens offered it. It blew my mind. I was like, okay, well, I'm definitely not at Walmart anymore.
Definitely not at Walmart.
Yeah, this isn't Walmart anymore. They don't offer any kind of benefits like that. I got like decent health and dental insurance, got a decent like schedule, got really good like benefits. Like Walgreens is really cool. Like if you can get like on at a Walgreens, like definitely work at a Walgreens. They're like really awesome.
Yeah.
Although of course I shouldn't probably say that because like it might be like area based. Like some Walgreens might be really terrible. Because weren't you saying the other day that the Walgreens on the other side of town has like a 2-star rating and ours is like a 4-star?
Yeah, the Walgreens on the other side of town. Though I think that's mostly because they're not a 24-hour store, though it's still probably just because the employees there are crap.
I don't know. I've never been in the other Walgreens, so I don't know what it's like.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's also like important to note that like there actually isn't a Walgreens everywhere. Like Walgreens is like pretty much a purely American store. I don't think any of my friends from like across the pond or up north have ever like mentioned knowing what a Walgreens is.
Yeah, but they recently bought half of all of the, I want to say CVS pharmacies.
Yes.
And they're converting them into Walgreens, so there's going to be like way more Walgreens everywhere now.
Yep, which means way more openings for jobs at Walgreens. So
yeah, I know. It's a great place to work as long as like, as I feel like all the benefits and stuff is probably corporate decisions, so it'd probably be across all Walgreens, like the paid time off and stuff.
Yep, and if you get a Walgreens like ours or work in pharmacy, it's pretty much a 24-hour gig, so you can get night shift too.
Oh man, I don't know if the other Walgreens offer it, but I imagine they would. But there's like these pharmacy positions that you can take where you like back and forth between the pharmacy and the front of the store, and they will pay for your like schooling to become a pharmacist while you're working there.
Holy cow.
And then like you'll get on as an actual pharmacist there.
Nice.
Which is, a pretty nice pay raise, given that I'm pretty sure pharmacists actually get paid real money.
Yeah.
And
Imagine they get paid as much as a doctor does. So
I don't think
maybe
they get paid
not
doctor
as much,
pay,
but
I don't think they make doctor pay, but they do make good money. Because who wants to bite the hand that feeds you your pills?
probably a lion.
That was a good analogy right there.
Well, I mean, it's true. Well, that was an interesting side conversation we were just having.
Yep. Well, I mean, that's pretty much the entirety of our podcast right there.
Just interesting
side
conversations.
Yeah, this is by far superior to the Let's Plays, but that's only because
You actually have two other people here
I
helping
feel
you
like
drag a conversation.
Yeah, not just that though. It's like I don't know, when you're just trying to think of stuff, it's much easier when there's other people around.
Well, yeah, because you pass on an idea and the other two feed off of it.
Yeah, I feel like it'll be better once we start doing 2 people recordings during the Let's Plays. Like that'll help a lot.
Yeah. Mostly like it's.
Unfortunately, I couldn't do that when I was recording because everybody was asleep or at work.
Maybe you shouldn't wait till like 2 o'clock at night to do it.
Dude, I was like just waking up. I had to like think of words for a second. My brain stopped.
Yeah, and about that same time I was going to sleep and Rob was out of the house.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, we did get some recording done. I gotta practice video editing, and
You got 6 whole episodes.
yeah, I'm hoping that Raw leaves me with some stuff to edit, so I don't have to record before I can edit. But we'll see what happens. Also, I hope he remembers to edit all this stuff because there's a lot to edit at this point.
Oh boy.
Yeah, though I'll probably have to take a nap first because I'm actually really tired at the moment.
You and your naps.
Well, I mean, if you can call a 5-hour nap a nap.
Yeah.
If it's even 5 hours.
Or, like a 13-hour nap?
Or, 14.
Yeah.
Because that's normally about how long it takes.
I'm basically a cat.
You could always be an Abra.
What?
An Abra.
An
A
Abra?
Pokemon.
Why does it say nothing?
They sleep like 14 to 18 hours a day.
Well, I mean, he already is an Abra then.
Now I just need to develop psychokinesis. I see you like to play Castlevania.
You're like man.
You could see into my mind?
No.
Fuck.
Oh, look at that audio spike right there.
Oh boy. It's from all the laughing.
It is from all the laughing. So, clearly the first thing you're going to have to do is balance the audio.
Balance the laughing.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to have to balance the audio first.
And the sound of
And then
trading
keep
cards
an
hitting
ear
the table.
out. Then you'll have to keep an ear out for, I don't know what you would call it. I guess it's pop noises, but there will be, every once in a while there might be, really loud, annoying sounds that come up for, a split second. And sometimes you can get rid of them. Sometimes they're, too embedded into, the middle of a sentence, and you just have to kind of
Deal with it.
deal with it, yeah.
Well, Audacity actually does have a few little thingies that you can use to clean up the audio. One of the things it has, it's mostly for vinyl records and stuff, but it's this click reduction. It's like I said, it's mostly for vinyl records, where every so often it'll pop because it's a record.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking that might help with a lot of the random clicks and pops and table bumps.
Yeah.
Table bump.
God damn it, Blake.
You have to leave that one in now so they can hear it, to know what I did.
He's so irritated now.
I need sleep.
No, you need a 5-hour energy.
No, actually,
I think sleep is healthier.
That was a joke, but okay. I have to go back to sleep here pretty soon.
Sleep is for the weak.
I've got to take a shower first.
And not for the
'cause
person, though.
I work tonight, but also sleep.
Yeah, sleep.
Oh,
It's too early for sleep.
What are you?
And welcome back to the Zombie
about?
Podcast.
Yeah.
The Walking Dead.
The Walking Dead.
Oh yeah,
Because all the other dads are in wheelchairs.
This,
Oh.
Oh god. Probably one of the best jokes now.
Best joke. 10 out of 10. What joke again?
2017.
Dad, I just want to go to sleep. I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm Dad.
Oh god, dad jokes now.
Fuck your dad jokes. Fuck your dad jokes. I say, even though I'm the person who fucking loves terrible shitty ass puns.
Only the worst puns will do for Blake.
Yeah, I love Sans level shitty puns. I don't know why, they're just fun. I bet it's totally recording the sound of him drinking that.
Well, it probably also recorded the sound of him munching on those little candies on the table too when he was crinkling the bag, but...
Probably.
Oh.
Is it really?
We've been going for probably about an hour now.
Well, I'd say that's good.
Hey,
Oh.
what did you mean? How is that good?
That we still need
I mean, I really need sleep.
Yeah, but we haven't even recorded, We're gonna need at least an hour and a half to 2 hours of recording if you're gonna cut it down and edit it.
For like an hour and a
Who
half.
says we actually need like a fully legit time, like minimum time on these things?
Well, I mean, we
do.
did spend at least 5 minutes going,
Yeah, well, what I'm saying is, like, we just need them to be, like, it should be about an hour to an hour and a half. That's not even like a strict time limit. It's like just kind of a general area.
But like, why is that though? Like, why?
Because it's a podcast, and a podcast isn't 10 minutes long. Like,
I mean,
most podcasts are like 2 or 3 hours long, and then there's some that run like an hour to 2 hours long. And I was preferring we would be like a shorter one.
I've been watching Vanguard ones that go for at least an hour and 17 minutes.
But we
And
don't
this
have to
is
be like
probably
everyone else.
unrecorded or unedited, so.
But we don't have to be like everyone else and just like have like an hour of talking. Like we can shorten it up a little bit.
If you want to go to sleep, you can go to sleep, and me and him will continue the podcast, and then you can just edit it later.
All right, then that's what I'll do.
All right, because I'm gonna take your chair now.
Oh,
Go ahead.
I was gonna take the chair, but okay.
I am chairmaster. Sorry.
Your chairman.
Oh, you're shutting your laptop case.
Case.
I said case, but that's not.
Check,
being-
please.
Yeah.
I just need-
Why are you so tired all of a sudden? You were like fine 20 minutes ago.
I don't know. Like usually when I guess
Maybe because he's been awake for like 24 hours.
No, he hasn't.
no. I've been awake since 7:45.
Yeah, he's been up for a little while, but not that super long.
I
Not
haven't
like
even
a
been
day.
up 12 hours and I'm already sleepy again.
It's probably because you stayed up 24 hours yesterday, though.
Probably.
Maybe you're just still exhausted from staying up so long.
Oh boy.
in a row.
Exhaustion.
I just know I just know like I cannot.
He can't even word right now.
Yeah, he can't even.
That's the thing.
I can't even right now. Like when I was video editing, I was having so much fun.
You know,
Even
when you
though I got
weren't
frustrated-
raging at
Well, I mean,
your editing software.
Well, I mean, first of all, the editing software is not the best. It's just free and legitimate, which is all that I care about at the moment. But like, at one point, I lost literally like 3 hours of work over just I don't even know what happened, and like that was the most rage-inducing thing. But every once in a while, it's frustrating. But whenever it's like running smoothly, it's actually like really rewarding and fun, and like I don't know. You just get to like kind of be a little bit creative with what you're doing and put your own flair into like videos. I just wish that the recording itself was better, because I feel like I could have done better with the recording, way better.
What?
I don't know.
What even?
What? You don't like the random lip smack noises?
What happened?
I made random lip smacking noises.
Yeah, I got that much.
So when are you planning on buying Legacy of the Duelist?
Already did.
You already bought it? So you already have it on Steam?
I mean, I could open it up.
So you're gonna pretty much plan on playing Legacy of the Duelist then for your first Let's Play, right?
Pretty much.
Are you gonna go through the entire series, and like what rules are you gonna play under? Are you gonna like try to do it using the actual character decks, or are you just gonna play it however you want?
I'm probably going to play it the same way I played through it on the PlayStation. Where I'm going to play the character deck first, and if I fail so many times, make my own and say fuck it.
That makes sense.
Especially for the duel with panic. Because that is the worst.
I can't wait for you to start
How do you-
playing. I
how do
can't
you-
wait for you to start playing the Yu-Gi-Oh! Legacy of the Duelist, just so that whenever I'm done editing it, or if Raw's done editing it, whoever, in the tags we can put Yu-Gi-Oh! Legitimately as one of the tags. Which, I mean, I guess in this podcast we'll probably end up putting Yu-Gi-Oh! As one of the tags. We've literally talked about Yu-Gi-Oh! For like a good 10 or so minutes.
I talked about Vanguard and Yu-Gi-Oh! So.
Vanguard.
Especially in this one. But yeah, whenever you complete like those story missions and stuff, they hand you the deck that is used for that part of the story. And there's like 25 or 30 monster cards, and at least 10 of them are level 5 or higher. Which means the other 10 cards in the deck are divided up amongst spell and trap cards. Which, you know, probably goes against the whole thing that they say at the very beginning of the anime, where your deck is supposed to be a balance of monsters and magic.
But all the monsters, especially like way later in the Yu-Gi-Oh series, are basically the magic cards, as well as being monsters. They have like ridiculous effects, and like all the monsters come out and they're like basically the spell cards at this point.
Yeah, pretty much. They literally are your spell cards if you start talking about pendulum monsters.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, towards like the further into Yu-Gi-Oh you go, the more the spell cards become replaced with monster cards that are also spell cards.
Well,
which
that's like the pendulum monster specifically, but
yeah, but in other series, like the monsters will have like these ridiculous effects and stuff.
Well, yeah, of course.
And like
your trap cards are normally like lines of defense, and your spell cards are normally used more for like offensive plays. So your monsters have to carry the rest of the weight.
Oh man, what was I watching where the person was saying that pendulum summoning adds a whole new layer of bullshit to the game?
Well, it kind of does.
Oh man, what was I watching where they said that?
Was it like an abridged series, or were you actually just like looking into it?
No, it was probably, maybe it was Rice Pirate, I don't know.
Rice Pirate?
He's a voice actor and an animator on YouTube, and he voiced one of the characters in one of the Yu-Gi-Oh series.
Was he the one that played an old man in Zexal?
Yeah, and I feel like they were... Maybe it was during the Doodle Dudes episode where they were drawing Yu-Gi-Oh characters, and maybe it was there that he was talking about it. I feel like I heard somebody talking about it, and they said that pendulum summoning added a whole new layer of bullshit to the game.
Well, yeah, they have like this scale number thing, which basically ends up allowing you to put 2 of them down as spell cards. Then you can summon any monsters from your hand or other pendulum monsters face up in your extra deck whose levels are between those 2 numbers.
Sounds like exciting stuff.
So, for example, if one is like level 1 and another one's level 10, you just summon 3 blue eyes in one turn.
Oh wow, that's a lot of blue eyes. I think Kaiba would like jizz in his pants if he could summon that many blue eyes all at once.
You mean like he doesn't already?
Yeah, I know. He's like really into the blue eyes white dragon. I think he's got like a blue eyes white dragon fetish that he just doesn't tell anyone about.
And seeing as like a competitive deck right now is a blue eyes white dragon deck that normally tends to play 3 of the blue eyes white dragon, 3 alternative blue eyes white dragon, and like a number of blue eyes chaos max dragon. And these are probably all cards that Kaiba used, especially since, you know, a lot of those were used in the movie.
Yeah.
You can see how much of a blue eyes white dragon fetish Kaiba has.
Yeah, he's like way into like blue eyes, man. That's like his card. I guess he's not as into blue eyes though as Ichi Shindo is into Blaster Blader. They have like
You mean Blaster Blade?
like the only person that Ichi loves more is Toshiki Kaiba. Like I'm just waiting for the episode where they finally confess their feelings to each other and get married in America where it's legal.
You know the terrible part is IG is going to college in America.
See, they're already like prepping.
They're already halfway there.
But if it doesn't work out with Toshiki Kaiba, he's always got a Blaster Blader on the back burner.
His trading card that's a living being on an entirely different planet in a galaxy far, far away.
Because there is always the possibility that Toshiki Kaiba instead falls in love with Ren. Because they clearly have like a weird gay romance thing going on as well. Like, what is up with Toshiki Kaiba and everyone like having weird gay romances for him?
Everyone that's had anime protagonist card game powers. More specifically.
Oh, man.
I think the only characters that he doesn't seem to have, like, this almost obvious, but not obvious romance for is Leon and Chris, I guess.
I don't know who either of those are.
Leon is main antagonist of the second season. Was trying to... or freed the water-based dragon clan thing.
Oh, the water guy who was
and replaced for the fire clan and...
Okay, yeah, he's got
Blaster Blade
the
and
two,
Boston Guard.
like, twin girls with him or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's Leon Kennedy. Gotcha.
Leon Kennedy. and then Chris ends up being the character in that same season who has the two friends that play the animal high school university clan thing.
You know who else is clearly gay, but I don't think they have like a clear gay lover. At least I don't remember them having one. Is Jamie from whatever Chrono series is called.
G.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just add the G to it. Like, and then depending on the season, they add...
But yeah, the Be Still My Heart guy is clearly gay.
I prefer to call him Jaime Alcaraz since, you know, he's supposed to be from Spain, but...
I don't know.
And I imagine
Everyone calls him Jamie in the series, don't they?
In the English one, yes.
Yeah, like...
In the Japanese one, they actually get his name right since, you know, he's from Spain, and I imagine that Spanish is the same as, you know, the Spanish I learned in class, where the J makes an H sound.
You remember that time he mispronounced the Spanish word, even though his character was supposed to be like a Spanish-speaking native? And he totally butchered like that Spanish word. What word was it again? I don't remember now.
I think it was like, he says muy or something.
You guys are muy loco!
Who else in the series is like very clearly gay? I feel like there's a divide between Yugi Moto and Yami Yugi, in that one of them seems like very clearly like gay from what I've seen of their character, and the other one is like the manliest man who's ever manly man.
Who's ever manly man?
I feel like that's on purpose, but it's just funny. Because like little baby Yugi is like, every time I hear like his voice actor, at least the English voice actor, he just sounds like another character who like is arguably gay. But then like the Pharaoh takes over and all of a sudden he turns into like the manliest man voice ever. He's all like, prepare yourself.
I think one of my favorite parts about the Abridged series is that they make the two seem so gay for each other. Yugi and Pharaoh.
Yugi and Pharaoh. Well, the Pharaoh is literally inside him at all times.
Kribo, what's your special ability? But yeah, amongst other characters in G that are probably gay, and maybe Tayo.
You know what's okay. So you remember in the first 10 minutes?
Like the first 10 minutes of the first 10 minutes of the first podcast?
Yeah. You remember what we were trying to actually accomplish in the first 10 minutes? Also, I've learned I know surprisingly more about Yu-Gi-Oh! Than I thought I did, because like I can actually keep up with most of what's happening in the conversation.
Well, as long as you understand the basics, I guess. I mean, I don't imagine that you or Raw could specifically determine anything and everything within the anime that actually involves the card game itself. But
well, nobody actually watches the anime for the card game. Like, that's the least important thing happening, is the card game. It's mostly the ridiculous over-the-top acting and the crazy plots that make no sense. As well as the opportunities for abridging that little Karibo has taken full advantage of.
Oh god.
Go now. Well, what are these? That is probably like the most enthusiastic scream I've ever heard.
What?
Meow.
Oh god, are you talking about that one scene where it just like cuts to that person and they're like, no, in the middle of like a high intense action sequence?
Yusei is racing against the police, trying to get his Jewel Runner out of the facility, and while he's doing so, he ends up having like someone else helping him through the facility, trying to escape, and there's like a door, and whoever he's being helped by ends up telling him just to run through the door.
Yeah. But yeah, I love the part where he's like screaming no in that one scene. And it's like no.
I thought he said now, but yeah.
Is it now?
Because he's telling Yusei to drive through the door.
Yeah, and he's telling him, he's like, do it now, and he's like, no. And instead of yelling it like all dramatic, like no. He's like no.
He sounds so bored and enthused about what he's doing at that time.
Oh man, I also liked the part in Vanguard where what's her name? I think it's Luna is the character who does it, but I'm not entirely certain of that.
Oh, well, like she's fighting Chrono and she does something right. And she's like, yay!
Yeah, she's exactly. It sounds just like that. She's like, yay! It was the most ridiculous thing I'd ever heard.
Oh boy!
Like Butch Hartman can pretty much do whatever he wants at this point. I saw he's tweeted out the other day he was looking for anime artists, and I was like, wonder what that's about.
Maybe he wants to do an anime.
My inner child is hoping that means like possibility of like a new Danny Phantom series, but like my realist side is like that's probably never going to happen. Although it'd be awesome if it would, especially if he got anime artists to do it, because it'd be way cooler.
You know, it wouldn't be bad if he was deciding to do that whole idea that you were thinking about doing in the future, where he gets a group of anime artists and people from America and then works on like this new show idea to the point of it being 50-50 between the two groups of people, and no one can identify if it's anime or just American animation.
But yeah, like that requires a perfect 50-50 divide of Japanese and American people. And I would take it as far as it has to be half done in America and half done in Japan. Like, we have to set up two separate studios and then literally divide the work 50-50 between each and divide the staff 50-50 between each. I don't think do it to such an extent that it's so perfectly divided in half that the argument of, well, it wasn't made in Japan so it can't be anime, this literally falls apart, because now it's literally like it's not made more on one side or the other, and they'll be like, oh, well, now what is it? I want to just like destroy the idea that only Japan can make anime. I just want to totally tear down that by like creating a situation where you can't, like, that argument just cannot be used.
Because it was made in Japan, so it's technically anime, but
it was also equally made in America, so it can't be anime. So it has to both be anime and non-anime, so it's Schrodinger's anime.
Oh god.
You know, that's honestly the point where they come up with an extra classification, like Python-esque.
Or they could just finally accept that maybe anime is like
a
particular,
style,
like,
or
like a stylistic kind of thing. Which, I mean, like, there's different variants of style within anime itself, but there's like this clear aesthetic to anime and this clear, like, I don't know, like, you look at something and you immediately know it's anime. Like, there's not an, oh, well, this could or couldn't be anime. You just kind of like, it's got like a certain vibe to it.
Yeah. Well, see, that's a good thought, but then again, Fooly Cooly.
What's Fooly Cooly is very clearly anime, though.
Most of the time, it is.
It's very, like, you can look at Fooly Cooly and the way it's done and like the vibes about it, and you can tell it's anime, though.
I need to sleep.
Yeah. I would say it'd be harder with something like Shin-Chan.
With what?
Shin-Chan.
What's that?
Oh, this really weird show that used to be on Adult Swim that was like this anime. The only thing I remember about the show is at one point, like I have this memory, maybe I'm wrong and this isn't how it happened, but I have this memory of him putting his mom's bra on his like head over his eyes and like walking around and pretending he was a lizard. Like I have this memory of that being a thing that happened in the show, and it's
God.
the only thing I remember about that show at all.
Well then.
And oh man, it's been so long. I forget that show's so weird. I never really liked it at all because it was too weird. Because it was like I don't know, it was just too weird for me.
Sounds...
That's coming from someone who loves Fully Cooley. That something else is too weird. Fully Cooley's fine, but this show, that's too weird.
Oh god. Well, I haven't seen either, so.
Oh, Fully Cooley's just... It's an amazing show and it's so much fun, but it's also just totally random. We'll have to watch it at some point, I guess. Although I say that all the time and then we never watch anything.
Sounds about right.
You know, like I can't argue with that. Like, what all shows do we have to
I mean,
watch at this point?
What shows have you and Raul said we have to watch and we end up not watching?
I haven't gotten either of you watch Cowboy Bebop yet, which you should because it's amazing.
I've seen some of it.
Evangelion, I tried to get him to watch. He wanted us to watch Welcome to the NHK, and we got 3 episodes in.
And then haven't finished it?
Yeah, we never finished it for some reason. I don't know why. It was actually going pretty well. Although, I was getting really annoyed with the whole, like, his weird obsession with, like, porn stuff. Like, they were making a porn game was, like, what was happening. So, like, the whole thing was, like, focused way too much on porn, and I was like, I know that this is going to lead to, like, something better, but I really just am getting super annoyed with all the porn talk at this point.
Well, I mean, it's an anime suggested by Raul. What do you expect anymore?
No, like, that's not really what the focus is about, though. Like, that's supposed to... It's like, I know a little bit about where it ends, and, like, that's not going to be too much of a focus the whole way through. It's just getting through that part is going to be annoying, I guess. Then there's... We haven't watched Yu Yu Hakusho yet, and I want you guys to watch that. We started to watch Hunter x Hunter, which none of us have watched that one yet. I only got like 2 or 3 episodes in.
Yeah, like 2 or 3.
I finished My Hero Academia, and I think you finished it. You're probably
2
ahead of me.
episodes behind. And I think it's actually still an ongoing anime series, which means there should be like another episode of it at some point.
Well, I know, but I'm surprised you're not ahead of me because I was watching the English dub and you were watching in Japanese, so...
I think that Crunchyroll has 33 episodes of Season 2, and I'm currently on episode 31.
Oh, well, I'm literally at the end of Season 2. That's where I ended it off, so that's a thing.
But I did catch up to Dragon Ball Super.
Sweet. I haven't watched Dragon Ball Super yet. I want to, but I've been waiting for the English episodes to come out because I know a lot of people are not like this, but I can't stand like the Japanese dubs just because it's too much reading. Like you have to read everything, and I'm like, I want to sit down and let my brain kind of go into autopilot mode, not sit down and read.
Well, seeing as there are like clips and stuff from scenes that I've already watched on YouTube, you probably could find the dubs.
Well, I know there is dubs, but at this point I'm just kind of letting them go. I'll probably wait till they either get really far in or they finish the series and then just binge watch the entire thing.
I mean, with the way I was watching it, take you probably about 3 weeks to get up to where they're at. Unless you're actually going to just watch it all immediately.
I cleaned through all of Naruto and all of Naruto Shippuden in like about 3 weeks. I'd say. Just watching them every day back to back, I got through both series. Up until the point they were at the time in English episodes. I'm still like probably 100 episodes behind on Shippuden at this point, or maybe 2. I don't know where they're at in the English dub at this point, because that was like 2 years ago when I stopped.
Well, I was watching like.
I wonder if have they reached the end of the series in the English dub?
I'm not sure. I still actually have to finish watching Shippuden because I'm at a point where they're basically going through.
Yeah, I know you're
like
way ahead of me because you
and-
watched the Japanese dubs.
They're
but-
basically going through like events and stuff that the characters do when they're much older, or at least like a year or two older.
And now, once I finish that, I've got to freaking watch Burrito.
Burrito.
Yeah, Burrito's on the list of eventual watchings as well.
You mean Boruto?
Burrito. They can't name the character Boruto and expect me not to call that character Burrito from now on. Like, if I had the editing skills, I would just, like, edit the character as a burrito all the time. Like, replace them entirely with a burrito. And put, like, a little ninja...
Like headband on the burrito.
Yeah, the ninja headband on the burrito. And maybe, like, put Naruto's jacket on it, or whatever Boruto's jacket is. Because isn't it, like, the same, just the colors are flipped?
I haven't
I've seen, like, one picture and it looked like it was Naruto's orange jacket, only the blue and the orange were flipped, so it was mainly blue instead of mainly orange.
I wanted to watch or finish watching what they had on Shippuden first before paying any sort of attention to Boruto.
Well, I've seen just images of the character, and it looked like they had, like, a similar jacket to Naruto's old
Yeah,
one.
I haven't even focused on the details of images of the character.
Oh my god. The greatest thing they did in all of Shippuden is fix his stupid outfit, because the original Naruto series, his orange jumpsuit is the dumbest thing ever.
Where it's
like,
orange and blue.
What ninja wears a bright orange jumpsuit?
It's a bright orange and blue jumpsuit.
Like
I mean, and they didn't
like,
even fix it too much. It's now like black and orange.
Like if you had a stealth rating for it, it'd be like negative 5,000 in stealth. Like everyone's gonna see him from 8,000 miles away, day or night, because they're like, "Hey, look at the bright orange suit flying through."
You're gonna complain about Naruto's bright orange jumpsuit, but not complain about Sakura's like pink or red suit.
Yeah, but hers is not nearly as bad as his, although it's also terrible for stealth. The only person in their 3-person team from the original parts that actually had anything close to stealth was Sasuke. But
he was
his wasn't really stealthy. It was just like a dark blue, so it worked.
A dark blue shirt and white pants. Or shorts, I guess.
But yeah, like at least his was the closest to actually being viable as like a ninja outfit. Although, actually, I guess Kakashi's outfit by far was the most stealthy of all of theirs. His actually looked like a stealth suit. Like, you could imagine him being able to sneak up on people.
I mean, if we're going to talk about all of their suits, might as well just talk about every single character's suit.
Yeah, but that would get ridiculous. I was...
Like, how does Gaara even sneak up on people with that giant gourd on his back?
Yeah, but Gaara, like, even though they never really call him a ninja, though. I mean, like, all their magic's ninjutsu or whatever. But, like, Gaara pretty much,
He was taking an exam which allowed them to rank up their ninja rank.
But anyways,
So...
Yeah, I guess you're right. Like, his thing, though, is... I don't feel like he would necessarily be stealthy, at least in the same sense. Like, he probably is more likely to be in one place and his sand is going to go do stuff, like, outside of him. So, like, he doesn't actually need to have, like, a stealth suit so much as he just can, like, sneak his sand in.
I'm not really saying that he couldn't be stealthy, but, I mean, when it comes down to doing, like, stealth-like things, would you imagine his footsteps to really be quiet?
No.
So I imagine, like, you'd hear these really loud thuds as he's carrying that giant gourd full of sand on him.
Well, I mean, he can manipulate sand, so it's entirely possible that he just lifts it up when he walks so that it's not actually...
I don't think he manipulates sand, though.
He does.
Because I think it's, like, brought up several times that the sand is its own entity.
Yeah, but he, like, pulls the entire, like, desert into the air in one scene and, like, drowns a person in, like, the entire desert.
I think he can, command it. He doesn't really control it, though.
I thought he did later on. I thought, the point was he couldn't control it early on, and that's what set up the conflict between him and Naruto, is that he couldn't control the demon within him, and he couldn't control the sand. But, in the future, whenever he's the, Kazekage or whatever?
Kazekage.
His title's different than Hokage, but...
whenever he becomes depending on the village, it changes.
Yeah, but, whenever he becomes that, it seems like he's way more in control of all of that shit. He's in control of the beast, he's in control of the sand.
Yeah, but it's not really the beast that controls the sand itself.
The sand...
Seeing as he loses the beast, really early on. I think it's
kind of like the power of the crow guy from My Hero Academia, where, it can think and act for itself, but he can also directly control it. I feel like it's one of those situations where it's kind of both. It can do things independent of him, but he can command it.
I feel like the two things, though, is not that they control it, it's more of they can command it.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Where it's here, do a thing for me real quick, and then it's still its own entity.
Yeah. Homie, I got you. Does that mean he can get in an argument with his sand, and the crow guy can get in an argument with his shadow? Well, they get mad at each other and they're having a little spat, so he gets in a fight and the sand's just not doing what he wants, and he's like, really? Come on, you're gonna be like this now.
Well, I mean, clearly they end up saying that the crow guy in My Hero Academia, although him and his shadow can get along during the day, he can't control it as well in a really dark space or at night.
I know it's probably not going to happen, but I totally want him to be the one who wins the tournament. Really badly. Because, they're trying to make the Ice and Fire guy cool, but I actually don't really care all that much for him. I've seen his character a million times.
Is that how far you made it in My Hero Academia?
They're trying to...
Or are you just trying to act like you're not spoiling anything for me? Because I'm way past the tournament part.
You're way past the tournament? The tournament's over where you're at?
I know who wins, who gets second place, know who gets third place.
Okay, where I ended,
I'm at a part where after the tournament they're starting to do training things with other heroes.
Okay, so the last episode I watched, Ice and Fire guy fought
main protagonist,
and then
Deku.
Yeah, so that's where I'm at. So it sounds like you're actually ahead of me, not behind. But anyways, as far as I'm concerned, I really want the crow guy to win. The fire guy is okay, but he's kind of annoying and kind of a douche. And then Ice and Fire guy is they try to make him cool, but I just don't like his character design. I think the biggest thing in the way for me of him is I just don't like his character design, where he's half ice and half fire. Because it just looks weird. I don't like the aesthetic of it.
I like the idea of...
I like the concept, but I feel like they could have done it better with the actual character design. So basically, the crow guy is cool, I like his power, and I want him to be the one who wins. And then I want him to take over and become, one part of the main cast. And then eventually become the main character. Because he's the coolest by far. Well, that'll never happen, because the coolest character is never the main character.
Well, of course not.
The main character is never the coolest one. I'd say in Dragon Ball Z, most people would probably say Vegeta is the coolest character, I would say.
Gohan was probably the coolest character during the Cell saga.
During the Cell games, Gohan was awesome, and Gohan used to be my favorite character, but they ruined him in Buu saga. He became boring and nerdy and lame, which I mean, he had that nerdiness to him, but the whole point of him being nerdy in the earlier seasons was he starts off as this weak nerdy kid, and then you watch him develop as the series goes on, and then it all pays off in the Cell saga when he finally comes into his own and becomes this total badass that fucks Cell up.
But then he
But
goes back
then-
to being like the super
Yeah.
nerdy character in Boo.
Yeah, and then it's like, well, take all the character development and reset it because now it's the Boo Saga and he's got to be a nerd again. It's like, why wasn't he just a really cool, awesome fighter because that's what he was building to as a character. And it seems weird to just undo all his character development for no reason.
From what I've essentially gathered from Super, it seems more or less like Vegeta and Goku are constantly looking for battles and are expecting someone stronger to show up. Whereas, like, their kids and stuff who are half human aren't, these warriors all the time. So they're not expecting to have to go up against someone stronger than the last guy they fought.
Yeah,
So they decide to settle down and do things with their lives, and like training with your body, their power level starts to drop off when they do that.
Yeah, but, like, I don't know. I feel like that's all just an excuse at this point because, I don't know, like, because, like, all of that stuff with Gohan, like, what was the point of all of it if you were just going to undo it all, like, literally the next season? Like, there's no purpose. Why do all the foreshadowing? Why do all the character building? Why have that payoff at the end? And then just be like, well, that was fun. Now time to reset his character and then never address that again. I guess his hidden potential only was there to conveniently defeat Cell, and that's it. They even tried to redo the whole hidden potential thing in the Boo Saga again for like the third time.
Well, I mean, they did it again for like a fourth time in Super.
Do they? Oh my god.
Well, like, no one unlocks his hidden potential this time. It's like the point of him having to get his power level back up to the point where he can just unleash it himself.
Oh yeah, like what I want to see them do with Gohan, which I'm not going to watch it yet, but I want to see Gohan actually like become an awesome fighter and like stay an awesome fighter and not just like be like, oh well, I'm a nerd again now, like. And it's not like he has to give up being a nerd anyways, because Oreo from Bleach is like a nerdy character, but he's also cool and like can fight. And there's like all kinds of characters like that who are smart but also can fight.
I mean, that's kind of like a thing that they were doing with Super in general. Every character has their own life, and they all, with the exception of Goku and Vegeta clearly, give up martial arts for the most part, except for Tien, I guess, because he has his own school thing that he ends up teaching. They all give up to do their own life thing, like Krillin becomes a police officer, Gohan's doing his studying thing. So all of their power levels like drop to near zero, and they end up having to train themselves back up to become stronger again.
Yeah, but what's the point? None of them are Saiyans. Like, if you're not a Saiyan, like, you might as well go home. Although, from what I hear, like, Super's trying to correct that. Which I hope they do, actually, because it got really old having, like, Saiyans be the only, race that matters.
Well, without spoiling too much, I think the last episodes I watched where Master Roshi seemed to have been the star, he was kicking some pretty decent ass.
Like, that's crazy to me, bringing Master Roshi back of all characters. Like, I miss, like, the days whenever, like, Jackie Chan was a thing.
I mean, the episodes where Master Roshi was actually doing the fighting, it seems to have, like, this very Dragon Ball-esque sense to it. Because, like, none of the characters that Master Roshi seems to fight are, Super Saiyan level powerful.
Aw, man, I want them to, like, get him all the way up to, like, Goku's level. Like, I want to see him fight, like, next to Goku in, like, some intense, like, world-ending battles.
Yeah, sadly, they aren't gonna do that, but...
Dude,
the parts where, like...
Why wouldn't they, though? That'd be so cool. Like, Master Roshi, like, one-on-one with, the fucking God of Destruction guy, and he's actually holding his own. Like, that'd be epic. That'd be amazing.
The scenes where they ended up putting in characters, like, number 17 or 18, they're fighting on, characters that have Goku's power levels and stuff. Not exactly like destruction of the universe power levels, but
yeah.
Like basic non-Super Saiyan Goku power level. Then there are characters where it's like Tien, Krillin, and Master Roshi who are fighting like Dragon Ball level characters.
Oh man, So what I want to see them do, actually, above all else, is I want to see them take Chi-Chi and bring her back into the fighting cast. Because in the original series, like, she actually did some fighting. And she was pretty cool. And then, like, for some reason in Dragon Ball Z, all of a sudden she never fights and she hates fighting. Even though she was literally a martial artist in the previous series. So it, like, doesn't make any sense why all of a sudden she'd be like, well, I hate fighting now.
Well, I think it's because she doesn't want her kids to grow up fighting like Goku does.
But
And
why?
it's not necessarily that she wants Goku to give up fighting, but she would like him to not do it as often and start being, you know...
A father and a husband. Yeah, but, like, my point is, and, like, so I don't get why she doesn't want Gohan to fight and why she doesn't fight anymore. Because literally her entire family, like, lineage is fighters. Like, they're all fighters, and then she married a fighter, and she's part of a large fighting family. Like, all of the logic points to the continuation of fighting, but for no reason. She's just like, screw all of my family history and what the person I married does. Like, I'm just gonna, for some reason, focus on like, not fighting. For no particular reason. Like, her dad was the Ox King, and the Ox King was, like, trained by Master Roshi. So, like, basically her family was, like, all about fighting too. It wasn't, like, a uniquely Goku thing. And in fact, clearly she was trained in martial arts because she fights in that tournament.
She fights against Goku.
Yeah. I mean, he beats her, but that was expected. He doesn't really hurt her, though.
He knocks her out of the ring.
Yeah. He, like, pushed her out of the ring with, like, wind, I think.
Yeah, I think he, like, punches or kicks so hard that it shoots a shockwave at her and knocks her out of the fighting stage.
That's pretty lame, too, though. They should have actually let her fight him and, like, had her, like, get in some, like, real good hits on him and, like, mess him up, and then him have to actually fight her back. But I guess also this was, like, what, the 80s?
Like,
so,
80s or 90s.
80s in Japan. So, like, that's probably never going to happen.
So was there, like, the whole don't hit a woman thing, so...
I think
they just wanted to, like, knock her out of the ring.
I think it was more of the, like, women are weak thing, because it was the 80s in Japan.
Well, I mean, she clearly wasn't weak. She was...
Yeah, but even as the strongest, like, female fighter at that point in Dragon Ball, he beat her without ever having to actually hit her.
Yeah, but I think that was more of, like, men shouldn't hit women thing, and not really
I don't think that's really... I thought Japan had a problem with that, like, people, like, just hitting, like, their wives and stuff in Japan. Maybe I'm wrong about that, though.
I do know that in Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds, they cut a character out completely because the voice actor to that character was in, like, some kind of hitting fetish cult thing.
Hitting fetish what?
Like there was some kind... I don't know every detail on it, but the voice actor was, like, in some kind of, like, cult thing that was run by two people who ended up basically telling all the people in their cult that they could beat on, like, the person they were with.
Oh, their wives or whatever?
Like, not critically hospitalize them, but, you know, like...
Yeah, I got you.
Give them a good punch or a slap on the...
Pow, right in the kisser. One of these days, right to the moon. But yeah, so I felt like I feel like that was a problem because I remember Family Guy made a joke about it once, and I feel like it was a thing I've heard before, but maybe I'm just wrong about that. I could be. I don't claim to be an expert on the inner workings of Japanese social life. So don't quote me on anything.
Well, I mean, I didn't even read the
like,
article thing on the 5D's character. I just watch YouTube videos occasionally, and that was like
then again,
one
maybe
of the
that
things.
is the thing. Though maybe the thing is they do have a problem with that, like how they have the problem with suicide, and that's why all the animes are like super intensely anti-kill yourself. And so maybe like it's the same thing there. They're like super intensely anti-hit women because like they also have a problem with that.
Well, yeah, but it was also like women hitting men too. So I just kind of figured it was more of like
it's like
don't
Fight
hit
Club
women
for married
thing.
couples.
Oh, God. I don't even think it's like Fight Club, which is.
Oh man.
I don't know like the full details on it. Like I said, it's just I watched a video on it and it was like a thing on little tidbits from 5Ds.
Yeah, I don't know. Oh man.
I mean, apparently there exists an article on the cult thing, so.
Articles on a cult. I remember they had that one cult for that did like the terror attack back in like the 90s. Or maybe it was the 80s, I don't remember. It was the 80s or 90s. There was like this one cult that did like this terror attack, and Earthbound references it. Or at least according to MadPat, they reference it. But hey, that's just a theory.
Oh God.
A game theory.
Thanks for watching.
He needs to make a second channel and call it Also Game Theory. Only this time he just teaches people about actual game theory. And it's just called Also Game Theory. So his channels are Game Theory, Film Theory, and Also Game Theory. This is the dumb kind of humor that I love.
Oh boy.
I need to shave my face. So do you, it looks like.
I think we all need to shave our face.
Need to shave it right the fuck off.
Hold on.
I love the inconsistencies of when I say fuck and when I go like I do both randomly and it's totally inconsistent.
You censor yourself sometimes, but other times
I'm like, fuck it.
you should have censored yourself there. Because that would have been hilarious.
That was funny either way.
Well, there goes the screen.
Don't you tell me what to do, screen.
Oh no, the screen went black, so. Well then.
Cut that out.
What I meant is the computer had gone to sleep, which meant that the screen was no longer flashing images for us.
Gotcha.
Which probably would have been bad.
All we can look at is the wavelengths of our audio file anyways.
Or, all of the things that Raw has conveniently open for us.
So it's...
Or sitting there. Like Skype.
Okay, so I know what I'm gonna... Yeah, alright. I'm formulating plans for what we're gonna do next.
Formulating plans?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of plans?
Plans.
Oh.
I still have to show you how to record stuff so that you can record your stuff.
Oh boy.
And it's only 5:30 now, so...
Hey look, 2 hours.
Maybe I'll talk with you for a minute after we're done with the podcast on your recording, if you decide to record now.
Oh boy.
We'll see what happens. I think we're pretty good though. We've got an hour and 45. That gives him like 30 to 45 minutes to cut from.
There is another anime that I have been somewhat interested to look into.
What's that?
Luck and Logic.
Luck and Logic?
Nate wants to battle voice as a character in it.
Oh, really?
Yep.
I know Markiplier voices a character on some like cartoon show now.
Neato.
But it didn't look very good.
The only thing is, I don't know if Luck and Logic is actually going to be like a card game based anime or not.
That would be funny if it was.
I mean, I watched like maybe the first 2 minutes of it, and it didn't seem like there was any, speaking of cards, but I do know that at one point, Bushiroad, who ends up making the Vanguard card game, also ended up having a card game called Luck and Logic.
So maybe it's a card game anime?
So maybe it's a card game anime, but maybe not.
Cool, we have a new ridiculous anime card game show to watch, and we can laugh.
Well, that's if there's card games in it.
Mm-hmm. You've activated my in the podcast card.
Oh, end of the podcast? Well then.
Yeah, we've got enough here, I think. So I think it's a good point to end it. So this has been the second Furtalk podcast. I am Blake Foxx.
And I'm Mizu Kurai, and sleeping in another room is Ralleign Siston.
Well, y'all have a wonderful day, and we will catch you in the next video.